Hi, folks, here at DonBest.com. Brian Blessing joined by Bruce Marshall. Let's get you ready for the Cowboys' visit to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Dallas, Bruce, a 2.5-point favorite. We'll call the consensus here. Don't know that this one ever gets to 3. The total in the game, 45.5. Let's start with Dallas. Really, they're taking a lot of heat for mismanagement of the clock at the end of the game last week. Cost them a chance to win the game. Well, they had to do everything right in the closing moments just to get in that position. Really, Baltimore had them beat. What do we make of this team?
They're in some trouble right now, and I think this is a game, two teams in trouble, I think, Brian, because both of them have been struggling so far. Dallas, you wonder how much rope Tony Romo and Jason Garrett have with Jerry Jones, the owner. Remember, since Garrett took over for Wade Phillips back in the 2010 season, midway through, they're only 15-14 straight up since then. Point spread-wise, now this is interesting, too. Back into late 2010, they've only covered 7 of their last 24 games on the board, too. They have been kind of a money burner. Did get the money last week against Baltimore. They did some good things in that game. They ran the ball pretty well. But Tony Romo has thrown a pick in 6 straight games, Brian. This is a problem. I'm not sure you can make a really confident recommendation on Dallas right now.
We had talked about the Cowboys and their inability to run the football, and then you watched the game last week in Murray, then Jones, then Tanner. Whoever was in there, they ran the ball effectively. The problem is they just don't stick with it.
They didn't. I mean, you're right, 227 yards. That's the most the Baltimore Ravens have ever given up on the ground. Now, Murray does have an Achilles tendon problem. I'm not sure about his status this week, but they've got Felix Jones and Tanner, like you said, so they should be able to run some here against Carolina. But I think it all kind of comes back to Romo, because we've seen him this year look really good on a couple of occasions, like that game against the Giants in the opener. But too many times this year he's made mistakes. The Bear game on Monday night a couple of weeks ago, and then the clock management might go down to Romo at the end of the game last week. So Dallas, it's a little bit tough to recommend Dallas. They might be the lesser of two evils here, though.
And it has not been pretty for Carolina this year. The bottom line is sophomore season. Has the league caught up with Cam Newton?
That's a good question, Brian. There's some people around the league talking about Cam Newton being in Vince Young-like terms right now. His production has gone down, 5 picks, only 4 TD passes through the first 5 games. His demeanor hasn't been good either, prompting an uprating from his wide receiver, Steve Smith, a couple of weeks ago in the Giants game. Opposing defenses are kind of clogging the escape routes out of the pocket for Cam, and Carolina also has not been running the ball effectively. He's their leading rusher. They've got to get D'Angelo Williams going. Jonathan Stewart, if he's healthy, that's how Carolina works best, and it's been very choppy thus far, only 1-4 through 5 games.
2 teams in desperate need of a win. It's the Cowboys heading to Carolina to take on the Panthers. As always, it's great information when Bruce Marshall stops by, and we're glad you did as well here at DonBest.com.